In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and darkness covered the earth. Spiritually, the world had lain in darkness, oppressive darkness, since its creation. Confusion of the languages didn't end the darkness. A flood didn't end the darkness. A God, angry at times, still loved his creation, but men still loved the darkness. If they could just see the light, they would know. They would know how heavy the darkness was, and they would revel in the light. But how would he bring that light to man? On an ordinary day, an unpretentious Jewish girl was visited by an angel. "A child is coming through you," the angel said, and an extraordinary design was set in motion. And in time, in a little town called Bethlehem, in a small barn behind a small hotel, God came to man as a tiny human baby. Jesus, the baby, was born. If someone had told Mary that the little baby she gave birth to in that lowly manger was going to light up the world, could she have believed it? Born in poverty, the embarrassment of having no provision, of being nobodies, bringing a bloody birth with little dignity and no honor in a stall used by animals. How could this baby ever be the light of the world? Perhaps he could be the light of the Jews. Certainly he was the light of Mary. But how could one so small, so insignificant in the world of darkness become light to the whole world? But God knew. For 30 years, the child became a man. His light burned, but the world never saw it until one day. The baby who had grown into Jesus walked by a few men who were fishing, and he said, "Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." And they did. They rose up immediately, and something from him became theirs. Only 3? Oh no. He continued to find the men he wanted. This one, that one, Peter, James, Nathaniel, John, Andrew. Soon he had 12 men to walk with him, to follow him, to learn at his feet. Still, only 12 against the darkness. Only 12 men to light the world. How could 12 men ever light a darkened world? For a little over 3 years, these men made an impact. It looked like they might become something big. It looked like they might really affect the world. But then, one horrible day, in one lonely, historic moment up Golgotha's hill, the baby who had become the man was crucified, and the light went out. And then one of those he had chosen betrayed him. 30 pieces of silver. He was gone to darkness. And then, in the chaos of the day, Peter denied him. Another light gone to darkness. And 10 men now held the light, but hope was lost. Let's face it, they were scared. Had it all been in vain? Had he really been the Christ, or had they followed a zealot. And one by one, the disciples ran and hid, and the light was extinguished. 3 days he lay in the darkness, 3 days in the grave. And then, as the prophets had prophesied, 3 days after his death, the rumors became the truth, and Christ was indeed alive again. Christ, the light. Christ, the light. Only one light. But Christ, burning brightly. Already his men had failed. But what could possibly change to cause his light to ever reach the whole world? Turns out it was a simple promise. The Comforter shall come. I will come to you, Jesus had said, and indeed he did. He returned here and there, walked through doors and walls to his disciples, bringing his light to them again. And with just his breath, he breathed his Spirit into their hearts. And the disciples were a team again, the light of the Lord in their lives. On the day of Pentecost, something marvelous happened. The light, which had only been held by Christ until he passed it to his disciples, on one historic day, thousands received the light. Now, overnight, it seemed possible that maybe, just maybe, that baby born to Mary in a manger really could become the light of the world. But darkness doesn't go away without a fight. In spite of how brilliant and wonderful and glorious the light of Christ was, in spite of the marvel of Pentecost, when the world thought for a moment it had hope, men began to fight against the light. One such man, Saul of Tarsus, a devout Jew, gained permission to execute, to extinguish the light, to kill those who followed Jesus. And he was successful. He was single-handedly going to destroy the light. And then, on one of his journeys, the light blinded him. Who are you? That was Saul's question to the light that blinded him. Who are you? The light responded, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. And Saul became Paul, and Paul received the light. And a good thing he did, because Paul took the light all over the world, to northern Africa, to Asia, to Europe. The light that had looked as if it might be extinguished now seemed to have a life of its own. As disciples reached to friends and family, and Saul carried the gospel around his known world, friend to friend, family to family, church to church, until every nation would have the gospel, the light of the world, preached to them. And so the mystery of the light of the world has come to be understood. Christ, the light, the one light of Christ, gave us the light, and in fact said to all who believe in him, you are the light of the world. And so it was that through just that baby, that one baby born to Mary in a manger, in a barn, behind a hotel in which there was no room, that one baby did indeed become the light of the world. And all we have to do is touch one person with the light, one person with the light which he has given us, one by one. One by one, as we fill this room, we can also fill the earth with the light of Christ's love. And that's the story of Christmas. That's the story of how the baby born in Bethlehem became the light of the whole world. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Merry Christmas to all, and God bless you on this Christmas day.
While you have your candles lit, if you can carefully stand with all the beautiful lit candles, we're going to sing, "O Come All Ye Faithful." O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing that first verse again. Come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and, it said to hold your light up. Born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Oh, come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him. Come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Lights.